So what I wanted to talk to today about is the world, right? The world we live in. If I said to you the world we live in and the way things are actually it isn't the way it's supposed to be. And what I mean by that is sadness, violence, loneliness, all the bad stuff actually isn't the way it was supposed to be. There was originally a better plan. What do you say to that?
Well, I'd say, then what happened to the original plan?
Great question. Okay, so if we say there is what scientists call intelligent, or what they deny, intelligent design, meaning there's a creator, okay? The original idea of creation was to be in a world that was amazing in the way that it looked, amazing in the way that it functioned, always lots of fun, always lots of love, always lots of people living together in harmony and peace and all of that stuff, okay? Health, and also very important, no death. No one ever died. No one ever got sick. Everyone's super healthy, living forever, fun, love, amazing place.
Wow.
Sound good?
Yeah.
So then the next question would be, what happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so without going into too much detail, let's first agree on this fact, that what I've just described is not what we see right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Because first of all, we don't see people living forever, we see people dying. Agreed?
Yeah.
We see people not super healthy, we see people getting sick all the time, right?
Yep.
We see people not living together in peace and harmony and having super fun and loving one another. We see what? Violence, fighting,
war.
Separation, war, loneliness, whatever, all the bad stuff. So we can see there's two separate things. There's the way things are and the way I've described them as the way they should have been in the beginning. So let's say what happened was, for whatever reason, there was this thing called the fall. And I'm just calling it the fall, meaning that what was supposed to be hasn't actually happened. And so we're living in a world that's fallen. If you compare it to the high level of what I've described, peace, harmony, love, joy, unity, it's fallen like way below that.
Well, if the world that we live in right now is way below that, then what you're describing would be basically the perfection.
Yes, sir. Nice. Good way of putting it. Perfection. And yet, even though we call it perfection, deep inside of us, especially when you're young and you're growing up, you're like, why shouldn't I be having fun all the time? Like, only as you start to grow up, you start to learn that life's not always fun. People can be mean. You know what I mean? And you actually begin to realize, like, wow, I'm not actually living. There is still fun things to do in life, and life still can be cool. We'll get to that later. But on the whole, it's not all that like what we thought it could have been, especially when you're young and you're a kid and everything's like, hey, it could be fun. So, all right, so when you say, perfection, but not perfection in the way that, perfection, everything's neat, and perfection in the way that, like, everything's just always, like, good and, like, just fun and adventurous and, like, and you see elements of that in creation, like you see beautiful mountains and like water and crazy animals that are amazing, but at the same time you see animals eating each other, you see people falling off mountains, you see waves turning into tsunamis and taking out whole cities. So there are elements of beauty and perfection, but there's also elements of destruction and evil. So I was saying all that to say this. Once we know that what we're living in and what we're experiencing as humans living in this human world, once we know that this is actually not the ultimate that we were created for, then we can begin to look for something else. And that will bring us to our next topic of conversation. Pause game.